a good place to get your stuff. When you buy solar cells, you can buy that with a flex pan, solder, and the wire that you would need for solar cells. They don't call it wire, they call it something else. It's flat metal, it's conductive, so I call it wire. It's not wire. Okay, these two items, once you're going to have to have the wires connect to something, and then you have to have the wires go out to your batteries. So I bought these at electronics stores. Simply screw these to the back of your solar panel, and then you have your way of connecting the panels, solar cells, to this, and then from there it goes to your battery. Simple thing to buy. And then I bought what I showed you earlier in the video. These are solar cells that were busted when I bought them. They give you 10 extra solar cells. I bought 100, and they give you 10 extra. So you're going to make some mistakes. They give you the 10 extra so you can learn how to solder, which is a good thing. Okay, you see how these were like this, and then it snapped in two from pressure. They're very, very fragile. You can't solder without a flex pin. The flex pin is the chemical thing that allows you to solder your cells together. This side is the negative side. The bottom side right there is the positive side. Okay, every time you solder, take your flex pin and simply in the white little square area, don't get in the gray because it comes off, put some flex on there. Take your wire that I pre-cut to size. I have the length measured out right here. I measured them all the same, and then I sliced them with a pair of scissors. It's that easy, not very hard at all. Okay, these usually may be bent, so they're just not laying flat. You need to flatten them out a little bit so that you get your nice, get them in the air, get them where you're looking flat. You may have to work at it a little bit. But once you get it there, you simply put this onto your flexed area, line it up the way you want it, take your preheated solar iron, or soldering iron, and take your silver solder. It comes with the package, and do your solders. It's very easy. Okay, that easy. I just got 3 nice solders. Very easy. Okay, I just did the positive side. Now what I'll do is I'll take and flip these back over, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, the way I want it. Okay. The next one is, after the positive side, is the negative side, which is the top portion. Once again, you take your soldering pin. You're going to solder along this entire white area. So basically, whether it's back or front, you're taking your solar panel and you're putting flux. I didn't have very much flux on there. You can see when it changes color to a slight yellow that you have flux on there. Otherwise, you can't see it, and you might not have enough flux on there. Okay, I line it up the way I want it. Okay, now I have these all pre-cut to the right length, so if I line up these wires perfectly, I have the same distance between each cell. Okay, you just got to watch out for slippage. Okay, and I can't stress enough that between every time you solder, every time you go to put this iron in the holder or put it down to clean the iron. Okay, I always go the length. See that? Nice clean solder. I always go the length that I'm going in. Okay. Now it may feel weird to go the way I just did it because I'm doing it backwards from the way I normally do it, but that's all there is to it. Just see me do one cell. But each cell is half a volt. You get 18 of these cells together, or 36 of these cells. If you have 36 solar cells put together, you're going to have an 18-volt solar panel. Okay. These are rated at about 1.7 amps if I have all 18 in series, and you have to do it, so it's always going to be the positive side to the negative side to the positive side to the negative side, so that they're all in series. Because if I went here to top, that's positive, positive. That's not gonna be what you want. Okay, so it's always top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And you're gonna go all the way up, come over, come all the way back down, come over, and come all the way up. Okay, and then you're gonna have either a negative and a positive, depending on which way it's sitting. You're gonna have your negative and positive at opposite ends. Okay, and then if you wire your cells together, they'll be wired together in the same fashion, where in series or parallel. I'm not going to go into parallel. I don't want to go into that. You can look it up on the internet, how to wire batteries together, and they'll have in series and parallel, and do it the way you need it, depending on the kind of light you have and the type of situation that you're working in. So in a nutshell, that's all there is to it. These tools come in handy. I would recommend that. I would recommend different tips depending on whatever you're doing. I use a flat tip for soldering flat wire. That kind of makes sense, right? If I was doing a circuit board, I'd probably have a pointy tip because I need a very small area that I'm soldering. I'm not an expert, but I followed the directions on somebody else's stuff. They said, well, you got to tend the wire, and then you put it on there, and then you run it with the flux underneath, and it works real well. The problem I found out with that is that I'd get too much solder on the whole thing. It was it was more of a mess, and then it was hard to take off. You have to take your time, let the heat up the wire. Use this tool to take the wire like this. Okay, you're going to slide the wire thing up here. You can rotate it a little bit so you have some grip, and then you heat it, and as you heat it, you'll pull up on the wire, and then you'll run the iron backwards, and at the same time you pull up on this, and as it'll just pull the wire right up off the top.